Welcome to Passport to Sleep, a calming journey through real places and dreamy escapes. Let's begin tonight's story. We might arrive in Paraty just after noon, winding down from the rainforest-covered hills on a two-lane coastal road that finally slips free of the jungle and spills into something brighter, wider, and salt-scented. The car slows as we cross a small stone bridge, the wheels bumping gently as if announcing our entry. And there it is, Paraty, a town that feels like it's been waiting in stillness for centuries, cradled between lush green mountains and a bay so calm it seems to hold the sky. The first thing we notice isn't what moves, but what doesn't. No cars, no horns, no flashing signs, just whitewashed buildings leaning politely into cobbled streets, their windows framed in colour. Cobalt blue, lemon yellow, sea glass green. Bright shutters, flower pots, wrought iron balconies draped with vines. Everything still, as if the town is holding its breath. We check into a pousada nestled just off one of the quiet lanes, a colonial guest house with wooden beams, clay tile floors, and a little central courtyard where bougainvillea spill like waterfalls over old stone walls. A cat dozes on a windowsill. There's a fountain trickling somewhere. Our room is small and white, cooled by ceiling fans and cross breezes, not air conditioning. The shutters creak when opened, and the sound fits perfectly here. We drop our bags and step back outside because this is not a place to rest indoors. This is a place to walk. The stones of Paraty's streets are famously uneven, intentionally placed that way over 300 years ago, to help rain and seawater drain during the high tides. They rise and tilt like ancient vertebrae, polished smooth by centuries of aged footsteps and storms. We walk slowly, watching our footing and letting the rhythm of the town rise around us. Shops here don't shout for attention, they invite. An open doorway with hand-woven hammocks, a shelf of leather sandals, a little studio with watercolour paintings of the very street we're standing on. We peek inside and hear the quiet clink of ceramic wind chimes in the breeze. Ahead, the church of Santa Rita rises beside the bay, simple, beautiful, weathered with age. Its facade is white and tan, with a large wooden door, an old bell tower, and just a hint of blue trim, the colour of distant sky. Built in 1722 by freed Afro-Brazilian slaves, it's more than a church. It's a witness. It has watched as Portuguese ships arrived, as gold passed through, as the trail to Minas Gerais faded into legend. It has stood while tides changed, while nations rose and fell. We stand before it in silence for a long while. The tide laps at the seawall nearby. A fisherman untangles nets in the shallows. The sound of gulls circles overhead. Inside, the chapel is spare and quiet. Wooden pews, simple altar, a musty scent of wood and salt and age. There are no crowds here, no tour guides, just cool air and old memory. We drift next toward the harbour. Wooden schooners rest on the water, their sails furled like sleeping wings. The sea is flat, gently wrinkled by the breeze, and islands rise in the distance like moss-covered pillows. You can't see where the forest ends and the sea begins. Everything is green and gold and blue. A man with a straw hat is selling boat rides for the next day. Ilha Comprida, Praia da Lula, snorkeling, lunch on board. He smiles when we speak our first halting Portuguese and tells us, "Amanhã o mar vai estar calmo." Tomorrow the sea will be calm. We nod, though it already seems so now. A little farther along the promenade, we stop at a seaside cafe shaded by banana trees. We sit at a wooden table, the legs slightly wobbly on the cobbles, and order a cold glass of passion fruit juice and a plate of moqueca, a fish stew rich with coconut milk, palm oil, tomatoes, cilantro and lime. The waiter brings us a steaming clay pot. When the lid is lifted, the scent is lush and tangy and wild, like the rainforest itself has been distilled into supper. We spoon it over fluffy white rice and eat slowly as the afternoon light warms the stones. Somewhere nearby, a guitar begins to play. Soft, slow, delicate notes. We don't speak. There's nothing to say that the breeze and the music and the ocean haven't already said. After lunch, we walk again. There are no directions in Paraty. You don't go somewhere, you just go. The streets twist and double back, some flood slightly with the tide. Others end at small squares where boys play soccer barefoot, where old women peel fruit into buckets, where time seems soft and slow. We stop at a tiny shop run by a woman with silver hair who pours us a taste of cachaça, Brazil's sugarcane spirit. This region is famous for it. Paraty was once a key port in the sugar and gold trade, and cachaça was as essential as currency. She offers one aged in oak, another infused with cinnamon, another with banana. We choose the banana, and it burns in the best way. Across the lane, a man sells brigadeiros from a tray, rich chocolatey truffles rolled in sprinkles. We take one each and eat them standing under the awning of an art gallery as rain begins to fall. Just a soft sprinkle, warm, tropical, fleeting. It passes in minutes, and the stones glisten as if they've been polished. As the light begins to fade, lanterns flicker on across the town. Shadows stretch longer across the whitewashed walls, the sky deepening from cobalt to indigo. We sit at a quiet bench near the edge of the old quay, watching as the last boats return, their reflections rippling gold and green across the water. A child plays a wooden flute nearby. Someone is grilling cheese on a skewer and fanning the coals with a woven palm frond. The smell is smoky and sweet. Dinner is simple, grilled fish with cassava and a tangy mango relish, served on a clay plate with slices of avocado and toasted farofa. A glass of vinho verde sparkles faintly in the candlelight. Everything tastes like it was grown or caught within sight of where we sit. The restaurant opens to the street, and we hear the sounds of conversation, of clinking forks, of laughter that lingers. We walk home slowly beneath the stars, the stones warm from the day, our shoes tapping gently on the wet streets. In the courtyard of our posada, frogs sing from somewhere unseen. The fountain trickles. A breeze moves through the palms. The cat has returned to its spot on the windowsill. We climb into bed, the shutters half closed, the sounds of Paraty wrapping around us like a lullaby. And somewhere beyond the walls the tide is rising, carrying in another night, another tide, another breath of this timeless town. Tomorrow we sail, but tonight we rest better than we have in ages. We wake to the sound of birdsong and soft footsteps in the courtyard, someone sweeping gently with a palm broom, the bristles brushing against worn stone. The shutters glow faintly with morning light. When we open them, the town is already warming, touched by sun, kissed by sea breeze. A thin mist hovers just above the cobbled streets, already beginning to burn away. It smells faintly of salt, damp earth, and something sweet, guava maybe, or jackfruit ripening nearby. At breakfast in the Posada's courtyard, we sip dark coffee sweetened with cane sugar and eat slices of fresh papaya, white cheese, and warm pão de queijo, the chewy, crisp-edged cheese bread that feels like sunshine inside. Bees hover lazily near the fruit, but they don't bother us. By mid-morning, we're down at the harbour. The schooners are waking too, men in flip-flops untying ropes, wiping down decks, carrying baskets of fruit and jugs of water aboard. The sea is like green silk, rippling gently, catching the reflection of white hulls and red awnings. The rainforest leans right into the bay, pressing against the shore like it wants to dip its toes. We step aboard a wooden schooner, varnished to a soft glow, with a sun canopy stretched overhead and long wooden benches along each side. A ladder dangles over the back for swimmers. The engine starts with a low rumble, and we slip away from the dock as if drawn by thread. Paraty shrinks behind us, first the boats, then the rooftops, then the church towers. Ahead, the bay opens wide. Islands drift into view like floating gardens. Green hills spilling into golden sand, ringed by shallow reefs and soft surf. The boat cuts a path through the water, slow and steady. The breeze thickens with the scent of salt and engine oil, mixed with something citrusy from the sunscreen just opened near us. We pass Ilha Comprida first, Long Island, though it's barely a sliver of land. Just enough for a narrow beach, a scatter of palms, and clear shallows where the sea glows turquoise over smooth rocks. The captain cuts the engine and nods toward the ladder. The water is warmer than expected. It wraps around us like silk. We swim quietly, faces turned upward toward the sky. Tiny silver fish dart past our ankles. The sea rocks gently, lifting us, then setting us back down. After the swim, we towel off in the sun and sip chilled coconut water from green husks. Someone peels a mango, slicing it with a small knife and passing it around. It's overripe and perfect, dripping down our fingers, sticky with sunshine. We visit 2 more islands, Praia Vermelha, where the sand is pinkish underfoot and crabs scurry between rocks, and Ilha do Mantimento, once used for storing goods during the colonial trade. Now it's just quiet, a crescent of sand, a small path into dense jungle, and birds calling unseen from the branches. Lunch is served on deck as the boat drifts at anchor. Grilled local fish, seasoned rice, sliced tomato salad, farofa and wedges of lime. The flavours are bright, the portions generous, and no one speaks much. Just the sound of forks and sea and low music playing from the captain's radio. We sail slowly back as the afternoon turns golden. The light slants through the trees. The rainforest glows. Back on land, our feet touch the stones again, still warm from the sun. But we don't return to the posada just yet. The sea might be behind us, but now the forest calls. A local guide named Caio meets us near a shaded square, and we pile into a battered jeep, heading inland on a rotted red dirt road. The pavement disappears almost immediately. The sound of town fades behind thick vines, giant ferns, bromeliads clinging to trunks like green lanterns. We're driving into the Serra da Bocaina, one of the richest and oldest pockets of rainforest on Earth, the Mata Atlantica, more ancient than the Amazon, though only fragments remain. Here, near Paraty, it survives in folds between the hills thick with life. Caio stops near a waterfall trail and leads us on foot, machete tapping gently at his side, though he never needs to use it. The path is narrow, slippery in places. Roots cross it like knotted ropes. The air is thick, not unpleasantly jupai. We pass a jequitibá tree so wide it takes 4 people to encircle it. Vines spiral up its sides like braids. Tiny orchid flowers cling to its bark. Caio tells us this one may be older than the city itself, perhaps 400 years or more. Farther in, we reach Cachoeira de Tobaga, the toboggan waterfall. A long, sloped rock face slick with water, it forms a natural slide into a deep, cool pool. Local kids line up, tossing themselves down the rock with whoops and laughter, their bodies skimming the surface like flat stones before splashing in. We sit on a boulder, shoes off, dipping tired feet into the stream. The water is clear and cold, the stones beneath worn smooth by time. A butterfly lands near us, wings pulsing gently. The forest hums with insects, frogs, birds. Life. Upon life. Upon life. On the walk back, we stop at a small family-run cachaça distillery tucked into a clearing beside a banana grove. The smell hits first, earthy, sharp, a little sweet. A copper still bubbles quietly behind the main building. We taste a golden age blend and one infused with cinnamon. Both burn. Both delight. We return to town just as twilight gathers. The lanterns are already lit, flickering in old iron sconces along the walls. Musicians begin to tune guitars and cavaquinhos in the main square. The church bells toll 6 times, slow and low. Tonight, we walk slowly. We drift past shops now glowing with lamplight, embroidered linens, hand-painted tiles, shelves of honey and preserves. On a side street, a man roasts corn over a metal grate, brushing each ear with butter, salt and lime. We dine outside beneath a jacaranda tree, its purple blossoms just beginning to fall. We eat pastel de camarão, crisp shrimp-filled pastries, and arroz de polvo, rice cooked in octopus broth, rich and briny and deep. To drink, we order caipirinhas muddled with passion fruit instead of lime. They're floral and wild, like the rainforest itself decided to mix a cocktail. The air is thick with music, soft samba rhythms floating through the lanes, voices raised in song, then laughter. We walk home with bare arms, the night warm and close, the stars scattered low and wide. Tomorrow we will follow the gold trail, but tonight we sleep inside a dream of water, stone and forest, where every sound is soft and every light is gold. We wake to a distant bell, just one, slow, clear, drifting through the morning air like a pebble dropped into still water. Outside, the light is different today, gentler, golden, the kind of light that makes everything feel a little softer, like the world has been wrapped in linen. We step into the courtyard and find it warm already. The cat is asleep again on the same windowsill, paws tucked neatly, tail flicking every so often, as if chasing something in a dream. At breakfast, we linger. The pão de queijo is especially crisp this morning, and the papaya slices seem riper, sweeter. A breeze moves through the courtyard, rustling the leaves overhead, sending one yellow blossom tumbling into our juice glass. There's no rush. Today is a day for drifting. By mid-morning, we're standing at the edge of the Caminho de Ouro, the Gold Trail, once the artery of colonial Brazil. From the inland mines of Minas Gerais, gold and gems were transported by enslaved Africans and indigenous porters, marching barefoot over miles of stone laid by hand. Only a fragment of it remains near Paraty now, but it's enough to feel its weight. We step onto the old stones, warm from the sun, still slick in places from morning dew. The forest crowds in tight, towering trees with ferns like fans and vines like ropes, the air thick with the breath of green things. Our guide walks barefoot. He says it's tradition, that you feel more when your feet can read the stones. As we walk, he points out the pylões, stone basins where enslaved workers crushed grain. He speaks of the past with reverence and pain, not to weigh the day down, but to keep it honest. There is beauty here, but also memory. In a small clearing, a waterfall trickles down mossy rock, and we pause to rest. The sunlight filters through the canopy in thin golden beams. Birds call overhead. The water is cold, clean, and tastes of stone and root and sky. We don't speak for a while. There is something sacred about walking a path that carries both joy and sorrow. Footsteps on top of footsteps, stories layered like sediment. Back in town, we wander toward the Casa da Cultura, the town's house of culture. Inside, the walls are whitewashed and cool, lined with paintings, photos, and quiet artifacts. Old dresses, tobacco tins, hand-carved instruments. One room holds a rotating exhibit from local artists. Another displays records from the Festa do Divino, Paraty's most beloved religious celebration, a blend of Catholic and Afro-Brazilian traditions filled with parades, drumming and colour. But the best part is the garden out back, shaded by mango trees strung with prayer flags, where you can sit and let it all sink in. We do. A lizard darts across the stones. Someone nearby strums a guitar, not for show, but because that's what they do here. For lunch, we walk down a lane we haven't yet explored and find a cafe tucked behind a flowering wall. There's no sign, just the smell of garlic and lemon and the sound of dishes being washed. We sit outside beneath a crooked umbrella and order the day's special, grilled octopus with cassava puree and roasted okra. There's a glass of chilled white wine from the southern coast, tart and mineral, and a small dish of pickled vegetables. It's the kind of lunch that doesn't try to impress you, it just feels true. Afterward, we share a slice of bolo de fuba, cornmeal cake, barely sweet, with a crust that shatters when the fork touches it, and then coffee, always coffee. Later, in the early afternoon, we visit the Saturday Artisan Market, a shaded stretch near the quay where tables overflow with handmade goods. There are carved wooden spoons polished to a deep gleam, woven baskets dyed with forest pigments, soaps scented with clove and orange blossom. Rows of painted tiles, each one a tiny scene, a schooner, a church, a couple dancing furrow in the square. We speak with a woman selling lace, delicate, impossibly small patterns that take weeks to complete. She shows us one she's just finished, blue thread shaped into waves. "O mar estar aquí," she says with a smile. "The sea is here and it is." By late afternoon, we return once more to the Praia de Pontal, the beach just outside the historic centre. It's not grand, not famous, not crowded, but it's quiet. Children splash in the shallows, laughing. A couple sways in a hammock strung between two palms. A dog digs an enthusiastic hole near a coconut stand, tail wagging. We sit on the sand, the sun beginning to slide lower, the sea catching fire in gold and rose and soft lavender. The mountains across the bay fade to shadow. The schooners begin to drift home. We sit in silence. We sit because it feels like we've been here before, because it feels like maybe we were always meant to be here. We sit because we don't want to leave just yet. When the light fades entirely, we rise. Dinner is simple tonight. A final bowl of pirão, a fish broth thickened with manioc flour and ladled into clay bowls. There's bread to dip, hot sauce to dab, and laughter in the background from a nearby table. Someone plays bossa nova just around the corner, and the scent of wood smoke carries on the breeze. We walk back slowly, past the glowing windows, the soft lanterns, the vines reaching down from tiled roofs like the forest itself is trying to join us. The cat is still on the windowsill when we arrive. The courtyard is still. The stones are still warm. We close the shutters. And for a moment, before sleep finds us, we can still hear the tide, the guitar, slow and steady. We hope you enjoyed this journey. Please follow us for more destinations, and don't forget to leave a review. It helps others find a peaceful place to drift off to. We'd also like to remind you that information in this episode may become outdated. Please verify with your own research if you plan on travelling to any of these lovely destinations. Until next time.